not to do neither. Okay, so what the operating domains of restorative practices allow us to be able to do is to be able to examine that, to give you a frame. This is really my number one tool for being able to tell whether I'm being restorative in the classroom or not, is to just to say, okay, I want to have a high level of firmness, but I also want to have a high level of fairness. So we need to look at what it looks like if we're not achieving that. Okay? So for example, if I was that teacher that we've just discussed a minute ago, and I'm high on the firm stuff, but I'm low on the fair, I want you to slot a word into there. I'll put 4 over here for you. Not, with, to, and for. Am I doing things not at all? Am I not doing much at all? Am I doing things with the students? Am I doing things to the students? Or am I doing things for the students? What do you think? If I'm high on firm but low on fair?
Two.
Oh, well done, Vegemites. Okay? We find ourselves doing things to them all the time. Okay? If you swear in my classroom, I will keep you in for 3 lunchtimes. Okay? In that box, we find ourselves being quite punitive. Okay? We're authoritarian in that we've taken a position of authority because we wear the teacher badge, not because we've earned it. And we stigmatise. When I think about the story that I told you about Sarah, okay, she was utterly stigmatised, wasn't she? Okay, she went from being school captain, fantastic role model, to no kind of role model, okay, because of the stigma that was attached to her about being the school captain who got detention. All right? If we're low on both, then basically we're not doing anything. Okay? Now we look at this box with a bit of disdain sometimes, and the good news is that I know very, very few teachers who operate consistently in this domain, but we've all been there. Put your hand up if you have never in your teaching career gotten to 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, utterly exhausted, about week 8 of term 4, and gone, I'm just chucking a video on today. Okay? Because I have. The very, very occasional trip there is forgivable. Okay? Hanging around there for a long time is not. It's neglectful. We're very indifferent about our actual career and our vocation that we've chosen. And we're passive in whether the kids are going to get anywhere or not, which is a real problem as well. Again, I don't really know how I survived teaching around sometimes, but I worked with another teacher who was placed to teach me how to teach. And for the first 30 minutes of every day, he opened the newspaper and put his feet on the desk. And he said, kids, we're going to be ready to start at 9:30. Be ready to go. And there was some pretty funky stuff happening on the other side of that newspaper. And he had absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. Okay? No expectation and no support to reach that expectation. Okay? If we move over here, and we're all good on the fair stuff, we give lots of support, nurturing and encouragement, but we don't have an expectation in place. We're not big on the firmness stuff. Which word goes in there? Yeah. You find yourself doing things for the students all the time. Okay? Now believe me, we all look at it again and we go, yeah, I don't want to operate over there. Okay? But the kids who would like you to operate there are highly skilled in dragging you to that box. You can have like the A1 lesson of your life plan, where you have taught, you've planned this beautifully. It's a maths lesson. I'm going to give 10 minutes of explicit instruction at the start. I've actually organised a couple of jokes to go in there, so the kids are going to be engaged. This is going to be absolutely, I'm like going to be like the Michael Jordan of teaching today. And you do this fantastic lesson. The kids are laughing. Everyone's going nicely. There's little workstations they all need to go to. You're going to spend 5 minutes there. You're going to learn about this. I've told you the why we're doing this today, so they're fully engaged. They're moving around the stations. I've organised the transition, so moving from time to time is not going to happen badly. I'm going to ring a little bell. You'll know when to go. Everyone goes, oh wow, good maths lesson. Off we go do the maths lesson, and then one kid comes over to you and goes, I don't get it. Did you not just see me for the last 10 minutes? I was brilliant. Did you not get it? Well, it's not my fault. I was like, I had to take the lunch orders to the canteen, and then Bill was poking me and throwing things at me, and I didn't hear what you said, and you didn't explain it properly anyway. And I don't know what to do. I don't even understand the first one. I mean, how am I supposed to get the answer to the first thing when you didn't explain it properly? And it's not fair. I can't even do the. How do I get the second one if I can't do the first one? And you go, The first one's 7. Just go to the second one. No? We do get Emily from next door. We do something for them at that point. They're really skilled. We need to know when we do that, when we can't. Okay? Over there, your permissive, protective, easy underneath. Okay? There's an S word to describe teachers up here. The kids will say strict. Okay? There's an S word to describe the teachers over here too. They'll say soft. Okay? Alright. There might be some other S words that you would use. But for the most part, they're the words that kids will often come about with. Okay? Which leaves us wanting to operate with high fairness and high firmness. When we do that, we work genuinely with the kids. It's where your practice can be described as being relational. You're authoritative in the classroom because you have positioned yourself such to be authoritative. And it's where teachers will tell you that, kids will tell you that that teacher respected me. Okay? They will have, and they in turn will have a lot of respect for you. Hugely important. Most of us will say that we can operate in this domain, or that we do operate in this domain, at least for some period of time. Okay? But there are 2 reasons that you might leave the with box. Okay? Because that's life. Alright? So you may leave, I can't think of a good reason to go to the not box apart from utter exhaustion. Okay? But you might go to the 2 box as well, just because you need to. The kids will make you. It's difficult to work, in a situation where, you want to be relational, we want to talk about our feelings, and we always want to have a conversation to get through something, and like that. Except now. This is not a good time to talk about our feelings. Okay? I'm going to do something to you to stop this from happening. Okay? So the kids might force you to go over to that box. There also might be a time that you go to that box by accident. And you've got to know the difference. This is a fantastic frame through which you can view your own practice, but only if you're willing to notice the times when you've been forced to another box and when you haven't been, when you've done it accidentally. Don't worry, going accidentally rarely breaks a kid. Okay? I did. I had a kid that I taught up at Sky Primary School, and he wasn't an aggressive kid, he wasn't a difficult kid to work with and everything like that. He was my stereotypical class clown. And one day he just went too far with it. Okay? And I kept him in at recess and I gave him a fantastic roaring that only can be given by a 6'5" man, 120 kilo ex-football and cricket player. Okay? And I saw the look on a 10-year-old boy's face of a bloke who's had someone that big stand over him and yell at him before. And it wasn't good. And I'm glad that later on I apologised and used that powerful tool of apology and did something about it. But there is no doubt that I, as a matter of accident, as a matter of poor choice at that time, went to the 2 box and did something to him that was unreasonable. And I can only fix that if I can reflect upon it. Conversely, you may go to the 4 box for a reason. The kid comes in on a Monday morning and there's been a death in their family. Should we do something for them? Yeah, we should. But we just don't want to have that grief period last forever, do we? Okay, so what this allows you to do is say, okay, yes, I'm going to drop the expectation for now, but slowly I'm going to map my way back up. I'm going to bring the expectation back up within a time frame that's reasonable for the situation. Okay, and like I said to you before with the answer's number 7. Okay, there will be times also when you will lapse down to that box. You guys have known me for half a day. All right, what do you reckon my default is? If I make a mistake and I slip out of the with box, which box do you reckon I fall into most often? I'm 2. For some reason, there's something about my personality that I sort of feel like when I walk into a room, and I did it as a principal as well from time to time. You walk into a room and I feel like I should be the one that's in control and I should be doing a really good job, and even if it diminishes the esteem of the other teacher, that I've got to show that I can actually be the best teacher in the school at this point, and if it doesn't work, then I will switch on the loud principal voice. Hey! Yeah, it works, still doesn't it? Still got it. Okay. So That's what, it doesn't mean that I can't go to the 4 box or the not box by accident either. But more regularly, I will catch myself going to the 2 box if I make a mistake. Okay? So the question I want to ask you is, when it comes to firmness, which is about pressure, limits and expectations, and when it comes to fairness, which is about support, encouragement and nurturing, we want to, as often as possible, operate in that with box. I want you to have a chat with your colleagues for a moment about a difficult topic. Where do you slip to? Where do you go to? What's your default position if you don't get this quite right? Have a chat.